Hello, this is Pavel from RankWyz. Today's video is about changes we made to separate, to make it more explicit process of building authority of blocks and actually using them for SEO purposes. If we would try to extract one of the main principles of current SEO, so without a doubt it will be only placing link on high authority properties. The time when the mass link building mantra was link is a link, or it's better to have a million shitty links, one high authority link, is gone. Now link has a value, a positive value or negative value, and building a lot of links on the properties that will give you negative values basically will just an effort that will result in damaging your SEO. So in a sense is worse than doing nothing. And if the main idea of placing link on high authority properties, then essential activity for modern SEO is developing high authority properties for SEO purposes. There are places where you can place a link to save to get a high authority link from, but if you are in the link building, so you can't go around of process of developing high authority properties, your own properties, for to get SEO benefits. This is exactly why PBNs are so popular, despite of the continuous claims that they damage SEO. Yes, they can, but unless you are capable of creating extremely viral content campaign that will attract a lot of visitors just because it's extremely interesting content, like Old Spice or any other campaign. And if your client is, let's say, one of the dozens or one of the hundreds chiropractors in the city, or yet another windows and doors company, it's almost impossible to build up viral content for that. So the solution is still developing link building to get advantage, the SEO advantage, and unlike of the old time, it's all should start with the building high authority first, and only then use them for SEO. There are a lot of talks about value of Web 2, whether it's good or not that good, and the answer is that it's not really Web 2 which is good or not that good. It is if the block has high authority, and there's a general idea that if you do self-hosted, so that you can get a very high authority, and if it's Web 2, it's just by definition very low authority. We have in RankWyz essential part of our process, not only process of building authority blocks, but also monitoring this authority. So basically, once you start posting, so you need some metrics. You can't to prove what you can't measure. So, and we have our own algorithms of measuring authority. So you can filter out your blogs by number of posts, by number of index pages. We're measuring if it's blogs that with subdomains. So we update number of index pages. We retrieve page authority metrics and number of backlinks. This is most metrics. So for self-hosted, we have page run check, and recently we added rank tracker, specifically that it goes very deep up to 500 plus position, specifically not to measure position of every your Web2 property, but use appearance in the search result as yet another metric of that Google recognizes or being recognizes as an authority, because if blog gets into the search result, even if they're low in the result, it's some kind of metric that can be considered as a authority blog. And back to the topic of building whether Web2 blogs can build enough authority. This is two screenshots I take from RankWyz, and you can see that in these cases blogs with a page authority with 50 plus, like I bet that a lot of PBNs, a lot of self-hosted domains that people believe that have enough ACO value don't have that high of page authority as some of our users managed to develop with the Web2 blogs. And in this screenshot is another group of blogs with a very high page authority, number of backlinks reported by Moz in number of index pages. This is massive SEO power, and they grouped into a blog group, and you can see that it's like 4,500 high authority blogs. 4,500. That's massive SEO power. So basically, one of the mistake our users make, many of our users make, is that they still go with the old mentality of just question how to looking for the easiest way to place a link. Placing a link is definitely important, but before you place a link, you need to make sure that the blog has authority. And definitely, this is on the high end. You don't need to obviously wait until all your blogs have page authority of 30 and plus and higher, but still placing a link on the blog that just created, that it hasn't been even indexed yet, and versus to the blog that has several indexed pages is huge difference, make a huge difference. And it's been reported multiple times that link that placed on the page that search engine bots seen before has much higher power than when discover a new page with an existing link on that. Although I don't think it's on its own definite making the huge difference, but this is the plus. This is one of the factors. Plus, many Web2 sites have a suspension rate very high at the beginning. So if you start building your blog and put your link immediately on the first page, on the second, on the first post, on the second post, and then after that it will be suspended. So there's a spike of links and there's a drop of links. Dropping links is one of the oldest filter Google used to find to detect the spam. So when there's a huge spike of incoming links and after that huge drop off those links, that's indication of artificially placed links. So we had in RankWyz we had our way of separating blogs of the high authority with the lower authority with the help of blog groups. But I can see the numbers and only a handful of people using this approach, and I partially blame our setup so that it's not as straightforward, and that's why we made an effort of making this process of more explicit, of separating the process of building authority and from the process of using those blogs for ACO. Well, this describes the describes the process, but before I'll go to diagram. So some people like diagrams more. So this is the project, and we have a blog network, and let's say we have 1,000 blogs in there, and we set them up. So we add those blogs, we warm them up, so we created the posts. Everything is great. So at some point they are ready to be used for SEO. So when we talk about Web 2, so it's a big numbers game. So it's not as important as how many sites were suspended on the way you're building up authority, as much as how many you build to the point when they have value for SEO, and then after that you need to carry them as your own website. So you don't need to post them as much. You more focus on the lower tier backlinking once you place a link pointing to your site. So what we did to improve this process, because to improve this process is, as we going further into so a bit later, so this process that is at the beginning very straightforward become a little bit more cumbersome, because we keep adding new blogs, and now one blogs are, so we have blogs mixed up that are some aging, so we'll with the indexed pages, and some are new, and now we need to set up different strategies to focus on different blogs. So what we did and deployed today on the server is process that allows you to create a blog network that will be focused specifically on building authority, and then automated process that based on your criteria will be moving blogs from one network to another. So as I said, so we've been doing this with the help of blog groups, but it wasn't that obvious, and this is actually an idea came from one of our users. So once again, so we set up blogs specifically for building authority. Then we set up criteria, and automatically system will be moving blogs once they get to the level of what you consider authority, to the blogs with where you're going to be using them for doing SEO. So if I go back to now, go to the system, I have a network I set up recently, and you can see that I have tier 1 network and tier 2 web 2 network, and in addition I created another network, and this is where I placed all blogs. It was around 800 blogs. And if I go to that network, so this is basically everything will load it here, and you can see there is one submission in here, warm up. So I go to submission, and it's set to post on each blog every 2 hours. So basically I'm building up posts with no links. It's just plain posts, and if you look at the content, so it's taken again, so it's a little bit not exactly a real case scenario, because first of all you would not put make posts that frequent. Let's say like I do it like every 2 hours, so specifically to test scenario. So you probably will do it at least no more often than once a day. But the point that you set up submission in this network that will be specifically focusing on building authority. So you will filter out suspended posts. You might play with the content. Might be few posts will be with the with no HTML at all, no images, no links. So once they get through some point, so you will add more of the authority links, and we'll keep posting. And this is where that setup that we added in. So you go to network settings, and down below with the network settings you will see the tab for automation. So we have multiple places where we move data, specifically like maintenance. So we move posts, we move um, blocks, and this time we implement it in a way that we will be doing it moving forward as a standard interface for a so-called data pipe. So basically the condition that will be applied to the data, and once that main condition there will be some action performed. So it's a little bit technical, but authority move implemented as a data pipe. So, and if you click on new data pipe, you select a type, and so far it's only one authority move, and then you specify a number of criteria that you believe that will be indicating the authority for the page, the block with authority. So of course you can't really set up, so you can use a number of index pages, and you have criteria greater than, greater or equal. So you have number of posts, page authority, and so on. So we're going to be adding more. So basically you create a criteria, and of course as much as you want to have, let's say to consider blocks with a page authority greater than let's say 30, it will take a while before you do this. So might be initial warm-up will be when you have criteria based on number of posts or number of indexed pages. And once you set up your criteria, you go to actions, and for authority move there is one action, move blocks, and you select a network where you want to move it. So basically there are project, and so if I close this and open existing, the one I already set up, this is exactly how it was set up. So authority move, number of posts greater than 3, move to tier 2 network. So for for data pipe will be executed by the system. You can see that it was last run and when it's going to be run next time, or you have an option to run it manually. So if I run it manually, you can see that 12 blocks were moved to another network. So to summarize all of this, this is how it looks. So first we create a network for high authority blocks, and this is a network we're going to use for our SEO work. And then we create a network for building authority and place all new blocks there. So basically this is preparation network, and we don't mix it up with any links going to our client sites. Then in that network we set up submissions to build authority. So we might do a few warm-up posts, minimum text, no links. Then might be include authority links, keep high ratio posts without links versus posts with links. And we set up authority move pipe to move blocks matching authority criteria. So now we have, so I'll go back to diagram. So now we have one process running here, and let's say if you criteria for authority is number of indexed pages less than 10, so you keep adding blocks in here and you work. So this is two separate activities. One that where you want to build the blocks, you see that you might clean up, suspend it, you might tweak this the cover type of content you want to post to improve survival rate, and only when they achieve the authority criteria you want to post links. The truth is that you only can have so much benefits from posting your links over and over again in the same blog. So once you build a blog and place the link, your main concern is now not to continue placing and continue building links like in every post, but rather keep it alive and might be focused on building second tier to this blog to build an authority. If you look back to those examples, every blog with a high authority had a massive number of backlinks, and this is reported by Moz. and most is not the best link discovery index. So it's basically you can see that once a block is considered um, authority, so it's better to switch from posting, continue posting in this block to the you still might post it barely to add a fresh content, but not at the rate of once a day. So you just keep it safe. You might be adding it once a while, but more of the adding back second tier backlinks to this. So this is and this is again outlines the process. And back to the diagram, you can even have more complex setup when, let's say, you have, and again, so when I mix together this, you do a few posts, and after that you do a few posts with authority links. Might be you will set up warm-up network, and you will be adding new blocks in here. You will have warm-up submission, let's say plain text, few posts, and then I have authority move criteria that will move blocks with the number of posts over 5. And you can see that once you reach 5 posts, the suspension rate drops for most of the Web 2 sites. And then you build a more authority of posting, might be authority links or mix of authority links, and only when it's ready, so you move it to the again, set up different criteria to move them in the network where you want to use to place in your links. And of course you have a lot of second, third tier networks pointing to this block. It might be in this to build up authority. So, and back to the system to summarize. So you go to network settings, and you will see the automation tab. And once you create a data pipe, you'll be able to create criteria that will be executed on a regular basis by a system by moving your blocks from one network to another to match by selecting the authority criteria. Well, this is for the video, and thank you for watching, and thank you for using RankWyz.